Mortgage rates are stuck. All right. Yeah, a lot of folks thought that by now, I mean, we're past the first quarter that things would be coming down a lot more. Well, they're not in the sevens, but crap, stuck in the sixes, high sixes at that. All right, but what else is going on up here in this North Florida housing market? Well, that's what I'm going to show you in this show. Every week I go over this. I'm in season 3. This is week 47 of Bubba Watch, where we look at that Jacksonville metro area and look at the housing market. That's right. I'm just a regular guy who happens to be a real estate agent up here in North Florida, and I take you every week into the back end of my MLS, and this is some of what we're going to look at. Look at those active listings. That's your inventory. Then we look at what's active under contract. Next, we're going to take a look at what went pending in the last 7 days. How many closed? Those are the sales in the last 7 days. Also look at those new homes, what sold, and also their new home inventory. I export all that data out of the back end of that MLS, and it's going to give you a lot more than what I just showed you there. It goes into these Excel spreadsheets, which look a lot like this, which is really confusing. I clean it up into my own Excel spreadsheet. It looks more like this, where we can quickly see what happened last week, the weeks before, last year, and the years before. So we're going to take a look at that. And also, I'm the only one that I know of that gives you the median price sold homes for single family homes, townhomes, and condos on a weekly basis, and also look at those median prices per square foot. All right, while those Excel sheets are crunching out the numbers, let's see what the rates did this last week. All right, here we are into the rates, and with all these different rates, all the charts, we start off here at the bottom, and this here is our 30-year fixed, and at the bottom we start off with, that's where we left off last week. At the top is where we are this current week. So as you can see here, last week we were at 6.82. Over here in the middle are the arrows on the changes during the week, and we see we've got a mix of green arrows and red arrows, okay? But a pretty good green arrow down at the top. So we ended up this week at 6.63. All right, FHA rates are generally a little bit less. They follow the same arrow patterns. As we can see, last week we were at 6.25, and this week we were at 6.07. VA rates followed closely to the FHA last week at 6.26 and ended up at 6.09. So getting closer to hitting into those fives. We'll see. All right, like I said, we're stuck, all right, with these rates. All right, now let's get to those Excel spreadsheets. All right, here we are into my Excel spreadsheets, and where I simplify things a little bit, make it easier to compare previous weeks and years. And as we can see right here, week 47 is our current week in this yellow column. The white column next to it is last year at this time. So we can look and see past year performance and compare it with this. YOY is our year over year difference in percentages right there. And then SFH in the blue column here is where I pull the single family home data out by itself and show you that. These other yellow columns here are the previous 2 weeks. All right, let's first, and then this column right here tells us whether what the rows are, active, sold, active under contract, and so forth. So let's start off here. The top one, 10,531, that is our active listings, that is our inventory. So we see that it was a slow increase, but it was still an increase. Sold 694. Okay, this is a dramatic increase. Okay, this is going to fly in the face of everything about my headline tonight that had to say. When we look at this, a big increase over the last couple weeks. All right, active under contract 1,415. Pending sales in the last 7 days 430. And by the way, those active under contract, those are all under contract where they have contingencies. Those contingencies can be anywhere from financing or home inspections or appraisals. Once they clear, it goes into pending status. Total under contract, 1845. So we see that that did drop a little bit this week, those going under. So that's what we got to watch when these going under contract and pendings drop, okay? How's the sales going to affect the following week, okay? And just because it goes pending doesn't mean it's going to sell. A lot of them fall through and don't go through closing. Withdrawals, 79. Those are homes that are actively still listed, but they just can't be shown. And usually people don't want them shown for maybe somebody's sick or they're doing repairs and things like that. Expired, huge jump, 318. Wow. Okay, those are homes that did not sell. Okay, and I'm thinking like a lot of the sellers still have homes priced too high for what a lot of buyers are willing to pay for them, and they just expired. Or they're going to new homes. And here we look, new homes sold. 229, a big jump, and new homes active inventory 2297, which has dropped, which we'd expect to see. Now this is the interesting part. In the orange here, I show the percentage of homes sold that are new. 33% this week. Last week it was also 33%, a big jump from the previous weeks. So are people gravitating more to those new homes because of insurance issues, or because the new homes have lowered their prices or given other incentives? They also do those rate buy downs. Okay, over here in the blue you can see the single family home data, and you can just pause the video to study it if you'd like. And I just want to show you, like, if you're interested in all this, goes all the way back to when I started the show in 2022. Now this Excel spreadsheet is downloadable in the description part of this video. You'll see a link to that. Now, let's see here. We've got, let's go take a look at the next one. This here is where our foreclosures are. Okay, these are the ones that are active listings that are in foreclosure status, not the total foreclosures in Northeast Florida. So as we can see here, we've got 73 in the foreclosure status, 23 pre-foreclosure, 53 short sales. So we had an increased total of 1 to 149. Okay, this is where I show the median prices like I was talking about. I'm the only one that I know that does it weekly like this. You don't have to wait for a monthly, and sometimes that monthly takes a while to come out. So here we look single family homes this week. The median sales price, $390,000, okay? So same as last week, okay? 206 per square foot, okay? That's up a little bit. Townhomes, 287,544 for your median selling price, and that's up. And the price per square foot's up. Okay, 195. Okay, actually, I was looking at it 2 weeks ago. So this here was actually down from last week. All right, week 47 here for the condos. 217,500 for your median selling price, and 192 for the price per square foot, the median price. Now, I've had some problems with getting this show up for this Friday, so I don't have all those other numbers that I have normally in the spreadsheet. I will catch up for it next week. So this week, the data here, all those other sections, is going to be limited. But this was the most important that I wanted to show everybody. And then this here is a snapshot of the condominiums with the same type of chart that we saw. And so you can see the numbers there for your active listings sold and so forth. Hey, if you like the way I put everything together here for you to look at and put all those numbers together, I'm not saying whether you like the numbers or not, but if you like the format of this show, give me a thumbs up. And if you want to be part of Bubba Watch Nation, then hit that subscribe button and subscribe to the show. All right, next we're going to take a look at what is called MLS Advantage. That's where I look at all 9 counties up here in this Jacksonville metro area, and we look at the sold data from that because there's other MLS boards. Everything I just showed you was from the Northeast Florida MLS, which is what I'm part of, and that's the largest board up here. But all these other smaller boards, we add their numbers up, and I'm going to give that to you in an Excel sheet too. So let's go to the MLS Advantage right now. All right, here we are in MLS Advantage. This is the back end of my MLS account that deals with those other MLS boards. Right here we look at those 9 counties: Baker, Union, Bradford, Clay, Nassau, Duval, St. Johns, Flagler, and Putnam. Over here I hit the search button, and that gives me 941 properties. All right, now when we put those numbers into and break them down by counties into the chart here, we see that Baker had 7, which is an increase from last week. Union got out of the zip file there and had 1. Bradford with 5. Clay with 72, so they had a drop from last week. Nassau County up to 73. Duval County had a nice increase, 362. St. John's also a good increase. They were at 241. Flagler at 157, which is good. And Putnam County increased by 1 for our total of 941 properties. And look at that compared to the last couple of weeks. Holy crap, okay? Look, here again, the buyers are coming out. I am a licensed real estate agent here in the state of Florida, and I work with a select group of agents up here in Northeast Florida to help people buy and sell homes. If you'd like to work with us and put us in the mix, then just call us at this number that you see right here on the screen below. All right, now let's take a look at some articles and see what are buyers saying about all this. All right, let's see what U.S. News has to say. 4 in 5 home buyers are still waiting for lower mortgage rates. The vast majority of 2,025 homebuyers are holding out for lower mortgage rates, but those who have been trying to time the market the past few years are still waiting for the rates to fall. You know, I've said this over and over, and so have some other people that are in the financial business, is you can't play the game of timing when the rates will fall. I even did a video back showing, like, if people waited for rates to fall, it was like 20-some years before rates fell. Okay, as we look further into this, we see here 4 in 5 home buyers, 80%, are waiting for mortgage rates to drop before buying a home in 2025. And that's an increase from 2024 and 2023 surveys, where about 2/3 were holding out for rates. And remember, in 2022, when I started this show, that's when the rates were starting to go up, and we've been watching this bubble ever since just fill up with air. Among buyers who are waiting for rates to fall, a quarter, 25%, want to see them below 5%. Well, that ain't happening this year. However, economic forecasts don't show that happening this year at all. Well, there we go. Additionally, 73% of today's home buyers plan on refinancing to a lower rate in the future. And then here, you know, we've got most home buyers, 57%, so that's just over most. Think the housing market will improve this year, while 26% think it will get worse, and 18% say it will be the same, okay? So, we'll see. The vast majority, 92%, are at least somewhat stressed about buying a home in 2025, including 24% who are extremely stressed. And I'll tell you what adds to the stress is after you bought that house, and then the insurance company tells you they're going to cancel you. Like, you know, some I've seen even like several weeks in. I've heard it hadn't happened to me, but I know someone personally it happened 3 months in. Here we go. Same story, different year. Mortgage rate gridlock continues. Just like my headline, mortgage rates stuck. And here's a little chart. It says here, we see that 6% waiting for them to go below 27% want to go below 6%, 30% are waiting until they go below 5.5%, 25% waiting for them to go below 5%, and 18% are waiting for it to go below 6.5%, which is more likely. And here's that stress chart when they were talking about, and you can just see the colors where that dark color there is extremely stressed. The lighter, you know, still a dark brown, number 4. Number 3 is still pretty stressed, and boy, that one there, the green and the light color brown, don't make up much of this at all. You know, in week 35 of this season 3, I did a video on rates aren't the problem, okay? It doesn't matter if you sit there and wait for these rates to go down, even to the 3s again. In fact, on my channel, check out that week 35 episode. It's more than that. Okay, 2025 housing market spotlight, climate risk. Okay, we're looking for, out in California, they got the wildfires. Okay, North Carolina even had a devastating hurricane. And then, of course, we all know here in Florida. And I also did a video about Northeast Florida up here being the safest place to live when storms come through. I got a whole video on that, and actually at the end here I'm going to put it up in one of those little boxes where you can click on it and you can watch that video if you haven't found it, you know, on my channel. And it just explains a lot going on up here, why this is a good place to live versus other places in the state if you're concerned about storms. All right, here we are. 47 is in the can, and until next week, I'm out of here.